Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm going to show you how to batch process large groups of images using custom actions in Adobe Photoshop and Bridge. So in Bridge, you can see I've got 30 different images. They've all been color corrected. They're almost ready for viewing on the web. But what I need to do at this stage is resize them and sharpen them. So I'm going to open one of these images. And if you don't see actions in your viewport, you can always go to Window, Actions. And by default, we can see Adobe's built-in actions right here in this folder. We can make a folder of our own and call it something meaningful. Inside of that folder, we can make a new action by clicking on this plus, and I'm going to call it resize with the resolution I'm going to use and sharpen. You can call it whatever is meaningful to you. So the first thing I'm going to do, now that we're recording our action, I can go to Image, Image Size, and I'm going to set this height to 1080. And I'm going to make sure this is just set to automatic, and we can click OK, because we want to make sure that sharpening is done by us. So we can see already we have a new element in our action, image size, which matches our history. I'm going to bring these down so we can look at them side by side. If we go to Filter now, Sharpen, Unsharp Mask, you can see that maybe it's a little bit aggressive. Maybe we can play with this radius here and get this to a point where just those highlights are coming through clearly. Cycle that on and off, and click OK. Now we can see a new element on our history has shown up, but also on our action. So that's all I was hoping to get done with this group of images. So I've done my resizing and my sharpening. I'm going to click Stop now, and I'm going to close this file without saving it. I'm going to go back to Bridge, and I'm going to hit Control A in Windows, Command A on a Mac, select all 30 of these images, and I'm then going to go to Tools, Photoshop, Batch. So on the top left, we've got the action that we want to run in our batch. Default actions is the first folder we're going to see. We want to go to My Actions, and we can see our action is available there, resize at the resolution with sharpening. Our source is from all of those images we had selected in Bridge. Now we're open in Photoshop, or they're about to be open in Photoshop. Our destination, you might see different things by default here. Save and close you want to be careful with, because this will overwrite your existing files. You might want to keep those for later reference. I like to save things in a new folder. So you can either save them in that same folder. I'm just going to save them on the desktop, called Sharp Resize. Here you can use the existing document name. You can annotate for some other things that happen. Maybe you say resized. And you can see you get a preview sample of what's going to happen here. Make sure you have an extension. You need to have a dot something. So make sure you have this extension also. On the left over here, you can see some of these checkboxes that will kind of override certain errors that'll show up. If there's a group of folders inside of the folder you have selected, it will also pull all of those. We just have those that we selected, and it will also stop for errors if anything comes up that's unexpected. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And we're going to see Photoshop just kind of takes over. It looks like it's having a fit, but it's processing all 30 of those images, and in a moment it will hopefully be done, and we can see how things went. Great. I'll close that. I'm going to navigate back to Bridge, and let's come find that folder. We called it So here we go. We've got all of our images. They're still JPEGs. They were JPEGs before. We didn't change the file type. Let's open one of these and see how our resizing went. So this was the original sample we used. If I double click on that magnifying glass, we can look at 1 pixel for pixel, and that looks pretty good for viewing on the web. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to show you one other kind of way to batch process and do a slightly different action. So I've got a bunch of these thumbnails pulled from the original Sims. And I want to take away this yellow background. And I also want to change the file format. Right now they're BMPs. I want to change them to be JPEGs. So I'm going to open just one of them, just like we did before. Make sure we have our actions palette open. And I'm going to make a new action, this time call it remove yellow from sprite. Our action is being recorded. I'm first going to go to image mode. And right now we're in a mode called index color. That's not going to let us do some of the edits that we might want. So we're going to change that to RGB. You can see we got a convert mode here in our history palette. And then I'm going to go to image adjustments, replace color. I'm going to select that yellow, and on this fuzziness slider I'm just going to see where I'm just getting that silhouette of the toilet. I don't want all the rest. Just want to avoid selecting that toilet. The white is what's selected in this case. You can see the result here is what it's going to change that color to. You could change the hue if you want. I just want to make it white, and I'm going to click OK. So we have two elements on our action and on our history. I'm going to click stop, and I'm going to again close this without saving. I'm going to go back to Bridge. I'm going to select everything, go to Tools, Photoshop, this time Image Processor. You can see the images are open from Bridge, there's 10 of them. Here's where Image Processor is a little bit different than Batch. If we hit save in the same location, it's not going to overwrite the files, it's going to make a new folder. It's also got to convert them to a JPEG in this case. You could also save it as a PSD or TIFF. We want to save it without layers. You can also resize that image here in one go. We also want to run our new action, so I'm going to come find that. You can see there's our new action, and I'm going to click run. Okay, there's our 10. I'm going to go back to Bridge, and we're going to see we have a new folder. And that white background is removed from all of the images. Now what if we wanted to change that? Maybe that really wasn't the color we wanted to change it to. So I can come back to my action, and I can double click on the element that I want to change. And instead of making this white, maybe I did want this actually like magenta. And I'm going to click OK. I'm going to close this without saving again and go back to Bridge. I'm going to select everything but that folder that was made. Go back to Tools, Photoshop, Image Processor. Make sure our remove yellow from sprite is the same action we just changed. And I'm going to click run. We're going to see what's going to happen in that JPEG folder. We already saved a group of images. What's going to happen now? We've got no errors. So Photoshop has proceeded to save a new file. So we got a number 1 following the other one. So they're not duplicates, they're alternates. And you can see we've got our magenta background. All right, so that's making custom actions and processing using 2 different tools in Bridge that connect to Photoshop, batch processing, and then image processor. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you all are doing well.